The road to Amber Bend, the road to Amber Court, climbs out of Tapper in a series of switchbacks, so tight the driver leans against the door with every turn, and the T-lorries coming down blow their horns at the blind bends, as though warning something in the trees. It is a road that changes people. You get in at the foot of it, a tourist with a suitcase, and by the top you are a pilgrim, hollow-eyed, tasting altitude on your tongue, watching the strangler figs unfurl their pale limbs over the 7 Amber Court shadows tarmac. The hotel sits above Tanarata, at the elbow of a valley the British surveyors named, without imagination, Amber Bend. In the late afternoons, the light does turn the colour of pale honey there, slow and thick, and if you stand on the north terrace, you can watch it pour into the tea gardens below in gold sheets. That is the beauty of it. The other thing about Amber Bend is that 4 rivers meet under the ridge in a bowl of granite, and the semi-people who lived on this land before the mock Tudor beams went up would not build within earshot of the confluence. They said the water talked to itself there, and what it said was not for people 8 Peter Kennedy I first came to Amber Court in the wet season of 1998, a boy of 22 with a fresh journalism degree and a commission from a Kuala Lumpur magazine to write a light travel piece about strawberries and scones. I stayed a week and left with 3 notebooks of things I could not print. I have been coming back, off and on, for 27 years. I have interviewed the night porters and the chambermaids and the retired district officers who remember when the hotel was still called the Highland Rest House. I have sat in the pantry with Mrs. Selvey and listened to her list the names of every guest who never checked out. I have walked the corridors after midnight with the electrical inspector who will not go up 9 Amber Court shadows to the 3rd floor alone. The stories in this book are true in the way that ghost stories are true, which is to say that they are told the way they were told to me, and I have set them down as faithfully as I could. Where a name might embarrass a living family, I have changed it. Where a date matters, I have kept it. Every room number is real. The hotel is real. The Amber Bend and what waits at the bottom of it is real, though I suspect it is not what the semi thought it was, and I am certain it is not what the colonial engineers thought when they diverted the river to fill the ornamental lake in 1932.10. Peter Kennedy Reader, a warning. There are books you can read in bed on a rainy afternoon and put down when the cat wants to be fed, and then there are books that come home with you. This one has a habit of the latter. I do not know why. Perhaps it is because the place I am describing is still there, still open for business, and any of you could walk into its lobby tomorrow and smell the polished teak and the cold mildew under it, and find yourself signing your name in the same guest book where the names on page 93 go faint at the edges as though the ink is trying to leave. Perhaps it is because the mountains keep secrets, the way old money keeps them, patiently, for generations, in vaulted rooms that no one visits. Or perhaps it 11 Amber Court shadows is because a haunted hotel is only ever half about the hotel. The other half is about the people who cannot bring themselves to leave, and I count myself among them. I begin then with a first sight of the place. It is early evening in the wet season. The mist is a physical presence in the lobby, curling around the ankles of the arriving guests, and the porters are lighting the storm lanterns along the drive because the electricity has gone again, as it does when the storms come off the Titiwangsa range. A woman is standing at the reception desk in a green raincoat, water beading on her sleeves. She has been waiting a long time. The clerk cannot find her booking. 12 Peter Kennedy. She insists she is expected. The clerk turns the register to face her, and she leans in, and something passes across her face that I have seen many times since in that same lobby, on many faces, and which I have come to think of as the amber court expression. It is not fear, it is recognition. It is the look of a person who has read her own name, written in a hand she does not remember using, on a page that was already there when she arrived. The clerk says, "Kindly, madame, you have stayed with us before." And the woman says, "No, no, I have not. But my mother did." That is where these stories start. Not with a scream in the dark, though there will be 13 amber court shadows screams, and dark, and worse. They start with a name in a book, waiting. A word about the geography, because the geography matters. Amber Court sits at 1,545 meters above sea level on the eastern flank of Gunung Brinchang. It faces west across the Bertam Valley and takes the last of the afternoon sun on its long veranda, and it is the highest of the surviving colonial hotels in the Cameron Highlands. There are older buildings in the area, but they are bungalows, and there are grander ones, but they are new. Amber Court is the only structure of its class that has been open continuously since 1927, and it is the only one whose original guest book, in 314 Peter Kennedy thick calf-bound volumes, survives intact in the manager's office. I have been given, over the years, the privilege of reading those volumes. The first covers the years 1927 to 1949. The second covers 1949 to 1978. The third is the current volume, and it is not yet full. In the first volume, the handwriting is uniformly beautiful, in the way that handwriting was in an age when it still mattered, and the names are what one would expect: Bevan, Cavendish, Sinclair, Ong Boon Keng, Rajaratnam. In the second volume, the hands become various, and the ink varies from black to blue to the strange muddy purple of the 1960s, and the names begin to include